This is Carla, and welcome back to the studio. Give me 1 second here. Just want to bring it up on my laptop, make sure everything looks good. Make sure we're kind of like even here and not all wonky. So let me bring in my little level tool here. Yeah, we're sliding. Yeah, that's not good. We don't want to slide. And let's just align this so that way it's straight and it doesn't look like I'm at an angle. Little crazy things that, I want to make sure that I can give you as good of a video experience as possible. Lighting is good, and hopefully the sound is working just fine. One time, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I just happened to accidentally hit that microphone button from the video, but yeah, I ended up doing recording a whole video only to not have any sound on it at all. Yeah, so we don't want that to happen again. Hold on, I can tell in a second. Yep, it's working. That all I have to do is unmute the laptop. I can hear myself, but we don't need to hear me like twice. So again, welcome to the studio. This is part of a series. This is my Throwback Thursday. And this is a very special Throwback Thursday. It just so happens that today, February 5th, is also my birthday. And it's just very fitting that the product that I will be using in this Throwback Thursday is something that is it's an online exclusive item, and it just recently, like back on February 3rd, went on the last chance list. So I thought birthday, and it was just the perfect thing to use for this episode. So let me, you know what, I will show you that in a minute, as just before we get started. But there are a couple of things that, like housekeeping type things, that I just want to make you aware of. So in the month of January, we started bonus days, and in the month of January up through February 2nd, for every $50 that you had spent in the online store, you received a $5 coupon. And of course, the when you spent $50, that was, let's see, that was uh before, hold on, 50,000. I always have this right down pat, but it's like now it just feels like it's a big tongue twister. So with the $50, it was after you had had any Stampin' Rewards applied to your order, and it was also before the tax and shipping that was added. So for every $50, you received a coupon code. It was emailed to you right after you had placed the order. There was no limit as to how many of these coupon codes that you can have. Now, in the started February 3rd, going through the end of this month, is when you get to redeem these codes. So what you can do is you can take them, you can copy and paste them into the box under coupon codes in your cart. Or you can put them in and put a space in between each one of them. You can use all of the coupon codes that you earned in one order, or you can split it up if you're going to place a couple of orders in the month of February. The one thing that you just want to know is that you have to redeem them by February 28th. If you have any left over after that, then you have basically forfeited them. So again, to redeem your codes, it ends on February 28th. Stampin' Up! Also announced another craft class that they're doing. Um, don't know all the details of it. I just know that they're going to be using the lovely Blossoms suite of product. They are going to be doing this in a private Facebook group on February 9th at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Um, when you purchase this, even if it's after February 19th, you will still have access to that Facebook group, and you can watch it, and then you can create later on if this date and time is not feasible for you when they go live. Now, for this craft class, the item number for it is 170929. It is $25 here in the US, and that's actually $5 less than what the cost of the class was, the other classes that they had last year. Um, and then for Canada, it's 35, and it's not, now the suite of products is not included. There's no products included in this price. It's just the price of the class, the access of the class, and of course there will be like a list of any additional products that you need. And then before the event, you'll also get an email that'll have all the cutting dimensions for your designer series paper or cardstock and all that. So then you're kind of ready to go when they go live with this event. Then the last chance products list. This has been updated also on February 3rd. I will tell you this, that there are a lot of things that have been added to this, including the bundle that I will be using for this video. Another thing that's on here, and it's kind of sad, um, the brushed brass butterflies, that those embellishments have been with us since the January to June 2022 mini catalog, and now they are on the last chance list. The original price of them were $10. They have been marked down to 8. At the time of me recording this, this is actually the evening of February 5th. They weren't showing that they were on low inventory. So what's nice about them, I mean, yes, they are metal, but they're thin, so they don't add a lot of bulk or weight to your cards. So kind of shocked that those were on there. But there's a lot of other things that have been added as well. So go ahead and check it out, because there are some things that also have been marked down. So now we're in another month. We're in February, so that means we have a new product of the month. For the month of February, it's design 12 by 12 designer series paper, and it's called Painted Illusions. And you can see by the patterns here, very, very pretty, kind of like a watercolor feel to them, and just a mixture of some nice colors. Again, with product, wait, and actually they give you what's in here. So there's a total of 12 sheets. There's 3 each of 4 double-sided designs. The colors in here are Darling Duckling, Flirty Flamingo, Granny Apple Green, Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, Petal Pink, and Pretty Peacock. Product of the month, again, when you are adding products to your cart, once you reach $75, and again, that amount is after you've added like any of Stampin' Rewards and even your coupon codes as well, because when you apply those, it is going to bring the product total price down, and you do need to be over $75 or more to be able to add this paper into your cart. And again, like I said, when you're doing your order, if you reach that $75 threshold, up at the top of your cart, there is going to be a box that lets you know how close you are to redeeming it. What you need to do is you do need to click on that button. It will take you to the page in which this is at, and then you actually have to add it to your cart. It's not going to automatically be added. So Again, Painted Illusions 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. This is the product of the month for February. There is on the products of the month. It is limited. I can talk to one per person. So basically, these are still available until they are completely sold out. So again, Painted Illusions. This is the new one for the month of February. For January, the product of the month was the Fabulous Saying stamp set. This is also still available. And then also in the month of December, which was the first month that they started the product of the month, the True Blue Florals 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. This is also still available. So if it's the True Blue Florals paper, or if it's the Fabulous Saying stamp set, if you did not purchase this during those months, you can still purchase them. They're going to still be available until they are sold out. So you got three different options on product of the month if you didn't already take advantage of the other two. Another thing that is now started too, Stampin' Up does have a joint offer on the starter kit. When you join Stampin' Up and purchase that starter kit for $125 here in the US. No, excuse me, back it up, not 100. It's the price of it here in the US is $99 plus tax. The shipping is free. Um, for $99, you get to choose $125 of product of your choosing. Now, for the month of February 3rd through March 2nd, you can actually get the new Stampin' Positioner tool in your starter kit. I actually had just got mine today. I basically have not left my apartment since, what was it, Friday, January 23rd, because we had gotten that snow and the sleet, then it became ice as it was melting. And so this was actually the first day I was able to get out. I had no choice in the matter. I had to get out because, well, I had to go and renew my driver's license today. But in the process of doing that, I was able to go and pick up my Stampin' Up order that I placed. And here is the positioner. Um, you will get, so there is, now this light's gonna like glare on it. So on with the stamp positioner tool, now there is grid paper, but this is not going to be included with it in your starter kit. So you have the base plate here, you have the clear plate that sits right on the pegs, and when you have your stamp on here and your cardstock underneath it, you just press it and it stamps your image. There's also two magnets that are in these little plastic pieces, so it makes it easier for you to not only lift it, but if these like clip together, the magnets are not going to break. So, and there's still a little bit to take them apart. The grid paper for, what was it, in the month of January, Stampin' Up demonstrators were able to pre-order this tool. They were also able to purchase the grid paper as well. Again, in your starter kit, you're going to get the base plate, the two magnets, you're going to get the big clear plate, and then there's also this smaller plate, which if you remember with the Stamparatus, the way that it was designed, you were able to remove the plates and you can do a technique. What was it called? It was I think it was a hinge step stamping, or just hinge stamping, to where you can have a stamp on here. Just put it on these pegs up here. You stamp your image. If you then move it over another peg, then you can stamp it again. So you can do a series, like say if you wanted to do happy birthday and you wanted to do it in different colors, you had everything lined up, your paper was on here, and it was a really cool technique. Now, I'm actually going to pull this in and I'm going to use it for one of my projects, but this is what will be in your starter kit for free. So you don't have to add it if you are going through the process of choosing your items to go in your starter kit. It's going to be automatically added. Um, now, the pre-order of this for demonstrators ended on February 2nd. So now the only way to get this tool is when you purchase the starter kit. Now, Stampin' Up! Did mention that this will become available for everybody to purchase, including the grid paper, but we don't have a date on which that's going to happen. I can tell you it's definitely not going to be before this joint offer ends. So at some point, it's going to become available for everybody to purchase, along with the grid paper, and and who knows if down the road that maybe they'll come out with additional magnets or plates or whatever. But right now, the only way to get this is if you purchase the starter kit. All right, so that is all that I'm going to mention. All of this stuff I'll end up mentioning again come tomorrow night. So on Friday nights, and this is what I'm aiming for, I still have to work on the projects for the live. My plan is to go live tomorrow night, Friday, February 6th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Going to create with the Made with Love suite of products. So another video that's going to be Valentine related. I want to say that I was completely blown away. I wasn't able to do a Friday night live last Friday. Instead, I did it on Saturday night. And as of like right now, there has been over 1,800 views on that video. And I was completely blown away that that video really became that popular. So thank you so much for those of you who stopped by my channel, watched it, liked it, made comments. I truly, truly appreciate all of that. It not only helps me in, excuse me, it not only helps me in growing this channel, it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I truly appreciate it. And again, if you really love the Valentines, that's going to be the theme for tomorrow night. Okay, so the product that we're going to be using, Cake Day. So this is in the new packaging. So if you, well, a bit ago, Stampin' Up! Made mention that they were doing away with making stamps in the red rubber. Also, the DVD cases that the stamp sets came in, they were doing away with those. However, you still can purchase the empty cases. They are still selling those. And then the packaging was going to change into these envelopes, basically similar envelopes that they would put the dies in. So all the envelopes are the same size, and everything, all the stamp sets are going to be photopolymer. What's nice about this, now one, I got to figure out how I'm going to store these to where I'm able to easily see the name of the bundle. But right now it's just kind of like intermingled with the other stamp sets that I have on the shelf. So because the packaging is the same size, I basically have like a stash of these empty envelopes now, because what I do is I'll put the stamp set, of course, is in the case, but then I'll go and take the set of dies and I will put that in the case as well. So they do fit perfectly in the same envelope together. And so it's all together. Now, I never got onto the whole thing about, taking magnetic sheets and putting it in my stamp cases and then adding the dies, only because a lot of times there were that, label dies and stuff that were in there that I could easily use, with other stamp sets. So I kind of kept them separate, but in this case now they're going to be together. So cake day, you have pieces here that you can kind of build your cake. There is a die that will actually create a cake slice shaped card. You can die cut this whole piece, and then it does create a score line right there in the middle. The one card, the second card that I'm going to be doing, we're going to use this die. However, I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm just going to use the one side of it. And I think, it just came out great. And then the first card that I'm going to do, you got some piped icing for your cake. You got macarons, you got your cream part for your macarons. You got some things of whipped cream, some sparkles, candles, a flag, and a tag. And you even got a die that will create like the dripping icing on off the side of the cake. So a fun bundle. I really do like the birthday ones. So let me pull out the stamp set. And again, a lot of these pieces, they're not small. I have noticed a lot of the stamp sets now have images that are they're a lot bigger. And I think that's excuse me, I think that's because they want to like cater to not only the card makers but also the scrapbookers as well. Okay. So, and I apologize. Sometimes this is what happens. I go live and then all of a sudden, my voice wants to change, and yeah, it gets a little crazy. Okay. So, the first card that I'm going to do, I try to use as much as I can on what's in a bundle. And so for this one's basically we're going to use the dies to make macarons, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do that. So for my card base, I have basic white thick. It measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of basic white. This measures 5.25 by 4. Ahead of time, I did emboss it using the Eyelet 3D embossing folder. This is still available. It is in our current annual catalog. Um, I got that. Then out of another scrap, I did die cut the flag, this kind of like your stitched flag pick. And then out of some scrap cardstock. So I got peach pie. I did the macaron, and then this is kind of like that cream filling. What's nice about these, let me show you, in the set of dies, they actually give you two of the macarons. They give you two of the cream fillings. They give you two of like the whipped cream dollops. They give you two dies for the icing piping for the base and the edge of the cake. You got three of the solid tall candles. You got three of like a more detailed looking candle. So they do give you some extra dies in there. And I think that's awesome on that, because when it came to die cutting all of these, it went much quicker because there were duplicates of the dies. Okay, so there's Peach Pie, Daffodil Delight. There is Lemon Lime Twist. Then I have Summer Splash. And then Petunia Pop. And then Gorgeous Grape. So kind of got a rainbow going on here with those pieces. So everything goes together really quick. So let me go ahead and let me fold and burnish my card base. And let me get my bone folder. Okay, I will set that aside. Then I'm going to take this piece now. My graphic that I have for this card, I tried to add the splatters using the black Stampin' Right marker, and it just added like some splotches of the black, and it was a little bit much, but then I went in and I used the dark basic black Stampin' Blend marker, and so this time I'm just going to go and use that that marker. So I'm going to take my other pieces, I'm going to put it underneath this, so then that way it doesn't get like any splatters on it from what I'm going to do. So the dark basic black blend. Now what I'm not going to, you can see what this tip looks like. It looks a bit frayed. That was not from doing this. I don't advise that on Stampin' Blends you flick it in the cap, because you will destroy and shred that brush tip very, very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm going to tap it, and it's going to add some splatters onto on my card panel. In addition to the black splatters, I'm also going to get my Wink Stella, and I'm going to add some splatters onto here as well. And it's very fine, but I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but yeah, there's some little fine splatters of Wink Stella. Now, if you want it to be more noticeable, you just want to squeeze it to where you have a little more Wink Stella in the brush itself. Okay, so let's put that aside. We're going to let that dry some. Then I'm going to take these pieces, and then the filling part to my macarons, I am going to bring in Stampin' Blend markers, and I have the dark shades of these colors. So I have Peach Pie, Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lime Twist, Summer Splash, Petunia Pop, and a retired Orchid Oasis. And these are like, again, these are all the dark shades. So I'm going to take the brush tip, and this part here is what's going to be shown after you kind of tuck it into the macaron itself. So I'm only going to add ink to that bottom part. And then what's going to happen, that's when that dries, it's going to dry a little bit lighter. So I want my icing for the center to be a little bit darker than the the whole cookie part of the macaron. So just come in and add some color. And I'm just using, the side of my brush tip. Summer Splash. And when it came to trying to figure out like what colors I wanted to use, I had mentioned this a while back. I do have those color cubes from Sarah Renee Clark, And they are definitely something that it's a good tool if you like creating. It gives you lots of ideas on color combinations. And so these were colors that were basically that I pulled off of one of those cards. The colors were just a little bit different, but not much. And so I just kind of like modified, went with colors that I felt would go very well. So now I'm going to come in with the Orchid Oasis. So now gorgeous, that we don't have a gorgeous grape Stampin' Blend, so I had to go with something that was going to be kind of similar in a way. And so even though Orchid Oasis, again, it's Throwback Thursday, it's using retired product. And yeah, I mean, I never, put away, my Stampin' Blends that are retired. I will still use them. So they're still, in with all the ink pads as well. Even though they are retired, I still keep them there because when I create, I like to use, I love all the colors. So I try to, especially my Throwback Thursdays, bring some of those in. Okay, so for the macarons, what I'm going to do is the way you put these together. So on this die right here, you see the stitching on the top and bottom. There is this slit mark that's right there. So you just take the rounded top part and you just tuck that in, and you kind of push it into where the two little notched ends of the icing are in there, like so. And then I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to take one of my regular size dimensionals, and I'm going to put it right over there to where it's basically holding it all together. So that's what it looks like when it's together. And I'm going to do that with all the rest of these. I'm going to assemble them in the same way, and I'm going to add a dimensional to the back to kind of like hold it all together. Okay. Right, just kind of like push it up as far as it'll go. And then just put a dimensional right here to kind of like hold it all together. I like these bright rainbow colors. Just looks happy and cheerful. Okay. And of course, too, on these, you can also die cut these out of the two-tone cardstock as well. So you can do the cookie part on the light side and then die cut the other side that's the dark shade of the color as well. So you can do it with cardstock and just color it with your blends or your markers, and just to make that a little bit darker. So there we go. Then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. And because this something like this, being as small as it is, and I'm also using photopolymer stamps, I can see exactly where I'm stamping. So I can do it this way, but we're going to use that stamp positioner tool on my next card. So I'm going to go with the happy birthday greeting, so it's kind of angled to where it'll fit on this flag part here. And I'm going to bring in my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Put that right there. Ink it up. And then I'll stamp it right there in the middle. like so. And we'll put that aside. And we'll close it up. So that's the only stamping that I am doing on this card. So I'm pulling in my chamois this time because I'm going to be using it to clean my stamp on my stamp positioner. All right, so let me get this out of the way. And let's go ahead and assemble the card. So this panel here that I did the splatter on, I'm going to get my Stampin' Seal and add some on here. Okay, make sure that my cellophane is in the center and not coming off of the roller. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to center it on my card base like so, and press that down. And then I'm going to start building my stack here. So I'm going to, for the middle, I'm going to go with my Daffodil Delight one. And I'm going to kind of eyeball where the center is going to be. And that, let's see, that kind of looks to be about the center. Okay, and then my peach pie one will go to the left of it. And it's going to overlap just a very tiny bit, like so. And then my lemon lime twist will go right over here. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of go in the order of the rainbow. So Summer Splash will kind of go right here. And then Petunia Pop. Overlap just a little bit. And then the Gorgeous Grape one. Now, before I stick this one down, I'm going to bring in my snips here. Let me grab the right ones. And I'm going to trim down this little pick part here. And then I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of that as well. Okay, remove these backings. And then I'm going to take my flag, kind of look at where I want to place it. And I want it to be kind of like behind my Gorgeous Grape. So I want to take this, I want to have it tucked in behind it, but I do want some space on the pick. Okay, bring that up a little bit. Okay, now I can press it all down. And then I want to bring in, I could have brought this whole thing down a little bit more, but at this point, I'm not going to pull those off. I'm going to bring in the black and white and gold baker's twine. This was part of the Modern Christmas suite of products. Now, I think everything on the suite, it has gone on the last chance list, except this baker's twine. So this baker's twine, it's got a nice stiffness to it, and I think it's because of that gold thread that's kind of like kind of twisted in it. So this ties very nicely. So I'm just going to create a one-stranded bow with this. Okay, We don't need the loops, you know, very big. Okay, and then I am going to snip this. So let me bring in my scissors for the ribbon and the twine. And I'm going to snip it. And we'll put that away. And then I'm going to bring in my glue dots. And we'll add one on the knot of our bow. And then carefully pull it off without untying my bow. And because it is bigger than the baker's twine, I do want to wrap, you know, this glue dot on itself. And then I'm going to stick it right here on the pick part of my happy birthday. And that's it for this card. So it's, you have all this white and then you got the pop of color. Now on my sample I did come down a little bit lower, so yeah, it's up there, and I would have liked it a little bit lower, but it still looks good. You got that nice pop of color on that white. So there is our first card, using those macaron dies for it. Okay, so now let me bring in the stuff for our next card. So our next card, this is a case of a card that Erica Serwin had done. The thing, I changed it up a little bit, and that's basically because the designer series paper that she had used, I don't have. The paper that I did get in my pre-order for March, I looked at the patterns of it, and this actually, not similar, but I mean, it's checkered. I kind of like it. So the paper that I used, and again, this is part of a new suite that's going to be coming out for everyone in March. Right now, demonstrators can pre-order it. It's the Homemade Sweetness suite of product. In here, there's Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Misty Moonlight, Secret Sea, and Strawberry Slush. And so the whole theme of the suite is about your jelly jars. So there is stamp set that does stamp a pretty big jelly jar, and then even a die to cut it out, similar to the cake day, where you have the die that's big enough that you can actually create a card from it. So there's actually a die big enough to do a big jelly jar. So the pattern that I pulled out of here, there's, so you got your images on one side, and then on the back you have more of like a background type pattern. And then you got some, this would be nice for Valentine's Day too. You got ladybugs and flowers, and there's actually an embossing folder that's like similar to that. That's part of the suite. And then you got some gingham here with and checkered with the Misty Moonlight. Some flowers. That's the other side of the paper that I'm going to be using. You got another sheet. Now the jelly jars that are on here are smaller than what's on this sheet. And you got actual, what looks like loose leaf paper on that side. And then you got some fruit. Isn't that cool? I like that. And then the back of that is your Misty Moonlight. So fun paper that'll be available in March. And again, right now, demonstrators can pre-order it. Okay, so let me kind of move these pieces. So on this one too, my card base is basic white thick, measuring 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. A piece of that Homemade Sweetness Designer Series paper. This measures 5.25 by 4. And then out of some scraps here, I die cut this large vellum circle, and it's the largest stitched circle that's part of the Spotlight on Nature dies. These are in the annual catalog. I have, like I said, there's one big die that you can do a cake slice card itself. So I only die cut the right side of it, so it does create like this score line here in the middle. I am going to trim this down and remove that. And then early espresso, I did the icing for the top and the side. Then also I had die cut four, so I did my sample card, and then there's this one. So I die cut the piped icing pieces. Now I am going to stamp these, and I'm going to show you a little tip on actually doing your die cutting, and then you can just pop this in your stamp positioner tool, and you can stamp all your die cut pieces rather than stamp and then die cut. You can die cut and then stamp. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And so this is kind of like that negative template that we're going to use to do that. Then out of basic white, there is this label tag that I have die cut. Then, like I said, you know, with the candles, they do give you they give you 3 dies, so you can die cut more than one at a time. So I did 3 of these tall plain ones at a strawberry slush. And then there's even these like sparkler type dies that are in there as well. And I die cut 3 of them out of gold foil. All right, so let's kind of get this all put together. So I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. And then I'm going to adhere that designer series paper and that vellum circle to this. So let me get my designer series paper and my adhesive. Okay, and we'll center this. Oops, come on, get unstuck, get unstuck, you're not on there straight. Okay, let's see, let's try this again. Okay. All right, and then my vellum circle, I'm going to add some adhesive more towards like the middle. I'm not going to go all the way to the ends. Most of our pieces, like our piece with the cake, is going to mostly cover this. So I want to place this, it's going to be centered from top to bottom, but it's going to be more towards the left-hand side. So where you see the adhesive is right there, you're really not going to see it because it's going to be covered up. Okay, so now I'm going to take that, I'm going to put that aside. So now we're going to do some stamping. I'm going to stamp the pieces, I think it's just this one here where I'm going to do my greeting. On this one, I'm going to do Make a Wish, and we are going to stamp that in Early Espresso ink. So we'll open that up, and let's get a block. Okay, ink it up. All right, and then I'm going to stamp it right here in the middle. Okay, now if you are mass producing this card, you can do the same thing. You can create a template like this, and then you can place it in your stamp positioning tool, and you can just do all your die cutting and then stamping afterwards. And I'm definitely showing you how to do that. So actually, well, we'll do that as the last part that we're going to stamp, because what we're going to do is we're going to assemble our cake slice, and then we're going to Then we'll do like that icing part. Okay, so on here, I'm going to bring in, let me close this because we know what happens when you leave ink pads open. I'm going to bring in my little mini guillotine paper trimmer. This was actually an offering a few years ago when we had Celebration. This was something that Stampin' Up! Had offered along with a pack of some 6x6 designer series paper. We're not doing Celebration anymore. That's what the product of the month has replaced it with. So now what I want to do is I want to trim this, and I want to kind of get where this is going to be a flat edge right here. So I'm going to come in just a little bit to the left of this score line. And because the top isn't really, it's not really like straight. So if I put it this way, I'm going to be cutting this at an angle. So I'm just going to eyeball this and kind of line it up. And the thing too is that this side here is also going to be covered up by icing. So we trim that off. And let's get rid of this piece. Okay, then I'm going to take my icing piece here, and I'm going to get some liquid glue. So this is the Tombow multi-purpose glue that is in the catalog. I just have it in a fine tip glue bottle. And I'm going to add some glue to the back of this. All right, and then this is going to go right on here. Just kind of line it up. And it's all lined up. And now I'm just going to press it down. Okay. And then, let's see. Then I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet. And we're going to assemble our candles here. So put them down. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the tops of these. And then my little sparklers here, I'm going to place that down. And do the same on this one. There's probably glue that does kind of seep out a little bit. Okay, and then our last one. Okay, you know what? I need to come up higher because I don't want to see the candle showing from the back. Kind of pull it up a little bit. All right, so we're going to set those aside. Okay, we'll move that out of the way. And then I'm going to bring in, so we're going to kind of do the cake layers. So there's this one that looks like that it has kind of like some sprinkles to it. And then there's this one here that's kind of like an icing layer. So let me get my blocks. And we got that. We're going to do all our stamping in our early espresso. So I am going to start, actually I'm going to get my Pierce mat because we want a nice stamped image. And I didn't line this up very well because I can see pecan pie. Now there is a way that you can kind of cover that up. Let me show you. Now, So our Stampin' Right markers, they are retiring them. I don't know if the neutrals are still available, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over the edge here just to kind of cover up that pecan pie. Oops, not want to do that. Okay, so that's going to kind of cover it up a little bit so you don't really see that lighter color up at the top. And then I'm going to take my sprinkles. We'll ink that up. And I'm going to come up. Let's see, let's turn this around. I'm going to come up close to the top, the bottom of that icing piece. Stamp that down. And then I'm going to get this icing part here. I'm going to come up close to it and stamp that there. And I'm just going to rotate between the sprinkles and that icing part. So when I'm done, I should have 4 layers to my cake. All right, another layer. This one, okay, and then one more. That right there. There we go. So we got our 4 layers of our cake. Let me clean those stamps really quick. This one too. And then we are going to bring in our stamp positioner. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to bring in my stamp positioner and I'm going to show you how we're going to stamp our icing on here. So I'm going to try and grab it. Grab my stamp positioner here. And I am going to, let's remove these out of the way. I'm going to take my template and I'm going to butt this right up against these little tiny pegs right here. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually line it up at my 2-inch mark here on my grid paper. And I'm going to use this spot right here. So I'm just going to take my magnets to hold this down. And then I am going to take my stamp and I am going to line that up in my die cut spot right there. So I'm just, now when I die cut this, it did leave the outline of the outside of the die on it. So I'm kind of looking at that as I am placing my stamp down, just to make sure it's kind of centered. Now, that when you die cut, it is leaving like a border to it, so your stamp is going to be a little bit smaller than that die cut. So I got my stamp lined up. I'm going to take my plate, put it right there on the pegs, and then I'm just going to press down, and it has now my stamp is now in the spot that I want it. So then I'm going to take one of my icing pieces. You know, through this whole time I've been doing this, there's this thought that comes to mind about what this looks like. I'm not going to repeat what I think it looks like, well, what I think it looks like, but I'm pretty sure you guys are probably seeing this and thinking, wow, that looks like something. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my stamp. Make sure I got it nice and inked up. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over. Again, you got your pegs here that kind of like press in. So these two open ones, I'm going to put it on here. Now I have watched Erica Serwin go and demonstrate this, and she says that when you do this, you gotta say boop. So boop, and you don't have to press really, really hard. So I've stamped it. Now my cardstock is kind of like stuck to it. So all I have to do is just with my nail, just kind of knock it off. And then there is the stamped die cut. So if you're mass producing cards, you don't have to do your stamping first and then die cut them. Do all your die cuts, keep your negative, and then you just pop in your die cut. And why is this not like, going as where it's supposed to? Come on. We want it to fit right in there. And then I will come in and I will re-ink. And again, if you get ink like I got right here on the plate, there's ink right there on the plate, it's not going to get on your cardstock. So when you take this and you put your plate on here like so, and you just press, this isn't even touching anything. So you do your boop, pick it up, and actually it stayed in there. And then there is our perfectly stamped die cut. And then we're going to close up our ink pad. Let's get our chamois. And then I am going to clean my stamp and my plate. And it's all good as new. Now it's a little wet, so we're just going to pat that dry on my leg. And it's all good to go. So yeah, let's get the glare off of there. But yep, all clean, all good to go. And then again, if you keep this template, again, you can do all your die cutting ahead of time, and then you can just pop it in there and you can ink it up. So let me move this out of the way. Let me get the stamp off of here. And we'll move this aside. I think I don't have the projects planned out yet for tomorrow night. Okay, so now let's assemble our cake. So I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet. So let's get our candles kind of like out of the way here. I am going to take my cake piece here and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of it. Let's see, put there and there. Let's see, we'll do, we don't want our cake to get all saggy. So I know it's probably a bit excessive on these dimensionals. Okay, and then we're going to put this on our card base. So we're going to take this and we are going to place this right about here, like so. And I'm going based on this edge right here, having that straight. Then I'm going to take the icing pieces. They're going to lay on here like so. So on these, I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals. And for these, I like to use my Take Your Pick tool because it's a little bit easier on taking these off of the sheet and placing it where I want. So I'm going to add one here. I'm going to add one here. And so to not have it overhang off of this piece, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to add it right down here on the bottom like so. I'll take these off. And then I will place, oops, I'll take that one off. And then I will place this right over here. So I'm kind of covering up on the bottom here. I'm covering up the base of that cake. So there is that one. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. And again, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to place this kind of like in the corner like so. Remove my backings. And then place this over in this corner like so. Okay, and then my Make-A-Wish, I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. Actually, I can probably use, the edge pieces are just as good, so I'm going to use that edge piece like so. And then I'm going to lay this down like kind of like right here. And then my candles, I want to bring in my liquid glue. And I'm going to add some glue to the back of this. And then I'm going to kind of take my candles and I want to kind of place it up like so. And then just kind of press that down. Kind of sad that this one is on the last chance list. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention that this is what I wanted to mention. So yeah, so on February 3rd, this bundle was put on the last chance list. What I did in the description when I put down the list of the supplies that I used and the links, I did separate the stamp set and the set of dies instead of putting it just as the bundle. The bundle price is $54, so that is like 10% of what the regular price of the stamp set and the dies are. For the last chance sale, the stamp set is still the regular price of $24, but the Cake Day set of dies, they were regularly $36. They are currently marked down to $25.20. They're not showing that they are on low inventory, so they are still available. I almost forgot to let you know about that. If this looks like the type of set, if you like doing birthday cards and you want to add a bundle, you know, to your birthday card making stash, I highly recommend this one. I do like this one a lot. Okay, so I'm going to add another candle up a little bit higher. So again, if you in the, like I said, in the description, I did separate it as just you know, just the stamp set and the set of dies, only because again, you'll be saving I think like probably about like $5 by ordering them separately rather than, you know, the bundle itself. I think it was like 40 something, whereas the regular bundle price is like $54. All right, so I have my third one here. Just kind of holding that down to make sure it's stuck. And then I'll take off my paper backing on this. And then I will add this. Kind of tuck it a little bit under the icing and then over the candles like so. So I'm not looking to line it up straight. And then I'm going to add a little bit. So now for my embellishment on this, again, I'm going to bring in this black and white and gold baker's twine. And this time I'm going to use the white one, and I'm going to make a double-stranded bow with this one. So let's see. Let's go with that. And I'll put that in there. So let me do my bow. Okay. And I want my loops just a little bit bigger on this. Let's see, we're going to put it right there. And then what I like to do is I like to take the tails of it and kind of bring it together so they're pretty much like the same length. And then I'll bring in my glue dots again. And let's see, we're going to take the bow, put that on there, and kind of wrap that glue dot because it is a little bit bigger than the knot itself. And then I'm going to place this right here in the corner there. Okay. And then for a little bit more bling, I'm going to bring in the loose gold sequins. And we're going to use this for the center of our candle sparkles right there. So I want the largest ones that are in here. So I need 3 of them. Okay, so we got 3. We don't want no stragglers. All right, so let me get my glue dots. And we want the large ones. Place those right there on my glue dots. And one more. Okay, and then I'm going to take the sequins and I'm going to add them to the centers here. And make sure that glue dot's kind of tucked behind. And then one more right there. So again, this is a case off of a card that Erica Serwin had done. The difference is different designer series paper. I believe that when she did her candles, she may have done them like Poppy Parade or Calypso Coral. The cake part, she had used, there's a specialty do I want to say cardstock or paper that is part of, I believe, the Nature Walk suite. So it's got some texture to it, so she used that as her cake, so it's a little bit lighter. I used pecan pie, and then she used what do you call it, linen thread, and I had gone with the white and gold baker's twine, kind of bring in, you know, that gold that's in there and also the white as well. Okay, so there is my second card. Let me just get these scissors kind of put away and out of the way, kind of get everything else out of the way, and there is our second card. So I really like how this one kind of came together, you know, your textures with your vellum on here, and I really like how this one came out. And then my first one, all white, and you got your pop of color with the macaron dies. Again, you have the cookie part. There's a slit right there, and then there's another die that does the icing. And all I did was I just took the dark shade of that Stampin' Blend and I colored the kind of like the bottom part that was gonna stick out between the two cookies. And so, yeah, I really like how this one came out as well. I would have liked it a little bit lower, but either way, it still came out really, really cute. So, again, like I mentioned, the Cake Day bundle is on the last chance list. The stamp set is still the regular price. The dies are marked down. So you are going to get a better price if you purchase the stamp and the die separately rather than using the number for the bundle. Uh, and again, I'm mentioning this on the evening of February 5th. And so at the moment, it's not showing in the online store as being on low inventory. So if you like getting the birthday sets to kind of have in your stash, for doing your birthday cards, I highly recommend this. I really do like this. And again, that particular slice die, it does do two sides, so you can excuse me, you you can actually make a cake slice shaped little mini card or a tag, like say for a gift bag or for a package. So really love the versatility of that of the set of dies. So if you like the projects, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and check out. I got a lot of video content out here. I think this is going to make video number what is it? Um Hold on. Um yeah, hold on a second here. This particular video here is going to make 340 videos. I do have everything kind of like in playlists. So there's a playlist that has all my Throwback Thursdays, my Friday Night Lives. That will also include anything that I may have done on Saturday night rather than Friday night. Paper Pumpkin, I have one for that. And what else? A monthly Christmas card inspiration that I put out, I think, earlier this week. So it came out a little bit later than I wanted to. But there's lots of video content, and I focus each video on, either a particular suite or a bundle or just a standalone stamp set. So go ahead and check it out. And if you get some inspiration off of what I have out there, please consider subscribing. Also, click on the little notification bell. It will let you know when I've posted another video or when I'm going live. I will be going live tomorrow night, Friday, February 6th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. When I do my Friday Night Lives, I do a card drawing at the very end. So if you're still with me at the very end, I do like a wheel of names, and then I do the drawing where you can choose one of the cards that I made that night. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, cards I can mail anywhere, product I cannot ship that, to other countries, just strictly, in the US. But cards, yes, I can definitely send them anywhere. So yeah, so my birthday, thought this would be perfect to basically, well, kind of celebrate in a way on doing my Throwback Thursday using this bundle. And so that's all I have for you in this. So I do my Throwback Thursdays every Thursday. So I really try to get ultimately, I try to get them done, and I have them scheduled to post at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time on Thursdays. But sometimes, during the week, it's kind of hard, to have that mojo to, come up with the projects after working a full day at work. So with that, thank you, everybody, wherever you may be. Stay warm, stay cool, stay safe, and have a blessed one. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.